Welcome to SDH's coverage of everything going on in the NPSL Southeast. 2 matches to go in the regular season, and there is a lot to play for. We'll get into all of the details, all of the permutations, and how things are laying out here for Matchweek 9. But let's take you back through Matchweek number 8. First and foremost, started off at Hardin Valley, Georgia Storm, and 865 Alliance. Storm get the win. And they and the Alliance now have something in common. We'll get into that coming up in just a little bit. 1-0 win for Georgia Storm on the road at Hardin Valley. Apotheos continues their winning ways at the top of the table, beating Georgia Revolution by the score of 3-1, which means that our match of the week is the rematch between Charlottetowne Hops and Appalachian FC at Ortho, Carolina. Sunday night, it was a 7 o'clock start, and it was crazy. If you thought that the 5-goal thriller in the first round at Ted Mackerel was something, you got this one coming up in the rematch. Here's your highlights, courtesy of our friends at 11 Sports and the NPSL.
A little better from Appalachian over the last couple of minutes. They've found a couple of passes to unlock the defense here for the Hops. Anything that concerns you about that from their perspective, Joe?
No, it was a classic case of announcer's curse, Robert. As soon as I said it, Appalachian has had a good couple of opportunities to break through the lines and mount a threat. Although here comes Hops.
Pilcher, back to Lopez. Lopez dummies it to... Did it go in? It did!
Went through the net.
Mika Habel just busted the goal. I just missed my goal opportunity because it didn't even look like he... All right, Ted Lasso spoiler, everybody. Everyone? Anyone? Went right through the net? Okay, anyway. That's a goal. Mika Habel, second goal in as many games in the 28th minute. Excuse me. He gives the Hops the lead. Imbert looking to make a cross. Madir Lopez! And it's 2-0.
What a goal. Chest control by Gabby Lopez, and then to head that ball in over the goalkeeper. Great goal.
And how about Mika Habel stepping in there to create the space? I'm not sure he got a touch on it, but his presence there allowed the defender to have to make a decision, and then the ball squirted right by him, and Lopez was just able to squeeze in. And that is a 40th minute goal for Gabby Lopez to give the Hops a 2-0 lead. Looking for some support. Mika Habel back to Trimnall. Trimnall looking to make the cross. And that one goes in the back of the net. It's an own goal for Charlottetown. 58th minute, I believe. That was Will Smith. Makes it 3-0. And that, Joey, is why you put crosses into the box, because sometimes crazy things happen.
Very possible that you could wind up 2-3 in the standings, and this could be a playoff matchup, and you want to send a message.
Indeed, and as we talk about it, we just ruined it again. Charlie Leach, the good overhead kick, and it's 3-1 in the 60th minute. The goals are pouring on.
Yeah, Leach was in acres of space, but give him credit, a good volley. And drives it past Carter Nunnery. I think that's Appalachian's first shot on goal, isn't it?
No, they had a couple of kind of weaker headers in the first half.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Didn't ask much of it. Nunnery had that actually pretty well covered. It's just good placement there by the Appalachian defender. On his goal earlier in the match would have done him well in that moment.
Yeah, it was tough. There was a lot of movement.
Sagnall misses. Eberly gets by him, but the ball doesn't come to him. And Bakota knocks it in, and it's now 3-2. 75th minute. Appalachian FC back in this one. It's an unfortunate moment there from Julian Sagnall. We've lost Michael Eberly for a moment. Bates. DeGraw ends up with it. Oh! And down goes. I think that was DeGraw in the end. And Amari Sally. It'll be a free kick. Hops might be waiting to make this change. As Griezwa is set to come in, but they're going to wait and make it till after the free kick. Free kick coming in. The pressure continues to mount from Appalachian. Pilcher skies up and makes it happen. Bakota on the spot, and in the end finds the back of the net. And another one of those dump goals that bounces around, and Griezwa will not get a chance to come in to make a difference here.
It's Jordan Williams scoring the goal.
London Williams.
Sorry,
London Williams with the equalizer, the 90th minute, excuse me, the 89th minute equalizer for London Williams. And Brule coming off. And this is all falling apart for the Hops. It's the goal kick up in the air. Pilcher coming in to get it, and he runs into London Williams. A little bit of a mistake, and Justin Stone locks it in! Chase Jansen with an absolute screamer of an error, and the Hops fans closest to us are letting the Squatchy Army have it. Chase Jensen with an absolute just miscommunication there. And Justin Stone walks in his first goal for the Hops. What a crazy moment as we have a rivalry absolutely budding right here in front of our eyes.
7 goals on the board. The comeback was on, and then it wasn't, if you were following along on social media. So Hops get the win, and they are up 4-3 after winning the first round, 3-2 at Ted Mackerel back on the 17th. So that sets us up for the matchups coming up this week, and we will go through the standings currently in the division. Apotheos is on top here in the Southeast, and they're a couple of points clear. 8 matches, 5-1-2. They're at 17 points. 5 points clear of Georgia Revolution, who are 4-4 at 12 points. App FC has scored more goals than Charlottetown Hops. They're ahead on goal difference, +3-0. App FC currently at 11 points is third. Hops are fourth at 3-3-2, which means Storm and Alliance, they are at 8 points each at 2-4-2, and goal difference, Storm ahead of 8-6-5, -3 to -4. So, once again, Apotheos at 17, Revs at 12. They would get the home matches first round of the Southeast Conference playoffs. App FC would go to the Revs. Charlottetown would go to Apotheos as of right now. Storm and Alliance need to win, get some help to get into Matchweek 10 to try and see if they can get into the playoff picture. So that sets up how things are laying out for the matchups for this weekend here in the Southeast Conference. And we get to catch up with the coaches as well and let you know what's going on in and around the Southeast. Apotheos, 865 Alliance at North Cobb Christian, 7 o'clock on Saturday night. All 3 matches are at 7 o'clock. App and the Revs at Ted Mackerel. Here's your preview with the 2 coaches, Jack Marchant of the Revs, Dale Parker of App FC. All right, break it down for me. What happened?
We just weren't at the races, unfortunately. We also can't give a team like Apotheos the chances that we gave them. It was a very kind of timid and tame start to the game. Weren't necessarily bad, but we weren't necessarily good either. But, we just could never find that spark on Saturday to really get us going. And we go 1-0 down. Very, very good goal. And at halftime, again, it was the same thing as the week at home to App. I felt like we lit a fire underneath us, and there was genuine belief that we could come out and turn it around in the second half. And again, we started really well. First 5-6 minutes, we're on top. We're taking it to them, and we give up one chance, one breakaway, and the game goes 2-0, and it completely kills it. But a tough one to take. But again, something to hopefully learn from.
now, I mean, obviously there's no time to dilly-dally or sit there and hem and haw about it. I mean, right now, and it's already being promoted as such. You've got 2 matches left in the regular season. This one coming up, it is you at number 2 right now with a record of 4-4. App and Hops are right behind you with 11 points with records of 3-3-2, and you've got to go to Boone to take on App in a battle of 2 versus 3.
We're excited about it. I mean, it's a fantastic place to go and play. Again, just one of the many motivating factors that we will have this weekend. I can give you 5 off the bat.
What are they?
Goals 1 through 5. But we'll go up there, and we've been fortunate. Again, it's still in our own hands. But we'll go up there with the motivation that we've got a job to do. And as we talked about earlier on, you go through the season and 3 points starts to feel like 6. And we know if we win on Saturday and we come away with a positive result, we eliminate some teams from being able to catch us, which, again, ultimately is where you want to be. Top 2 is always the goal. You want a home game that Wednesday. And again, we go in with the right mindset. We're going up there to take 3 points.
So you got the back-to-back. I know we talked about it last week, and it turns into a 7-goal thriller. If I had told you it was going to be a 7-goal thriller to go after the 5 goals that were scored in the first one, what would you have told me?
Well, the way this season's gone, I probably wouldn't have been surprised. Obviously, not the type of game that we anticipated. But like I said, the way this season's gone, I think we have to roll with it, roll with the punches, and accept that we can't predict what's going to happen. I think the conference has shown its strength, in particular over the last 2 or 3 weeks. When on paper you look at certain games and certain results, and you think, right, this might happen this week, this might happen next week. But if there's one thing this season has been, that's been unpredictable. So yeah, it was a strange game, exciting game for the neutrals. Obviously disappointed the way we're throwing it away again in the last minute. But yeah, in terms of excitement for the league and for people who were just interested in the game, it certainly had everything.
So then what do you learn from a match like this one, especially with what happened there at the end?
I think you've got to take every moment for what it is. I think going down the way we did in the first half and the way we performed in the first half was nowhere near at the level that we expect from this group of players or from the club in general. We can't find ourselves having to chase the game. And then I think in the second half was arguably one of our most complete performances of the season in difficult circumstances, conceding the own goal early in the second half. So that now you're facing a massive uphill challenge at 3-0. But then the way we approached it, the way we attacked that second half was, like I said, arguably the best performance we've had all year. But then to just sort of give up all that work that we'd put in one silly moment right at the end is very, very disappointing. And the most concerning thing for us is it's not the first time it's happened. We've given away late goals too often this year, and it's been our undoing, unfortunately. And thankfully, we're playing a sport in a country that enjoys playoff tournament football. So thankfully, we've got another opportunity to try and make sure we're in the playoffs and hopefully situate ourselves well that going into the playoffs we have a chance of making the final.
And right now, you're staring at a Southeast Conference that. Apotheos 5 points clear of the pack, but then it's Revs, you, and Hops 12, 11, take your pick. But I mean, 2, 3, and 4 right now is right on top of each other. And if things go certain ways, Storm and 8-6-5 can work their way up to make the last week of the regular season a real fight.
Yeah, I don't remember. In my 2 previous years, I don't remember it being this tight, especially between 2 and 6. I mean, every team's got a chance of getting in, which is fantastic for the league. It's not good for any of our stress levels, but it's definitely fantastic for the league, and it just shows you the strength. And once at the start of the season, it's so hard to get a read on teams because as you've seen players get added throughout the course of the season. Charlottetown, for example, added a group of players right before our doubleheader. That's why when we mentioned the scheduling last week, it's really not great for the integrity and the competition, because some teams play certain teams who aren't at full strength twice, and then some teams have to play other teams who are at full strength twice. So that's created a little bit of a sticky situation for some teams, and that's something we have to navigate. It's something we've got to improve and anticipate as we move into next season. But yeah, certainly the predictions at the start of the season certainly are not what it is at the moment, and that's great for the game. But like I said, for our stress levels, not so good.
And Revs come to town. So when you look at what Jack brings to the table with only separated by a point, knowing the importance, you talk about 6-pointers and all that kind of stuff and playoff positioning, but what do the Revs bring to the table?
Yeah, listen, I think they've had such a strange year. I mean, at one point it was us and them chasing down Apotheos for first place, and now we find ourselves battling for an opportunity to host a playoff game. So now the tables have turned a little bit. So we find ourselves in a similar spot. They've been very, very good at times, and they've been very, very unlucky at times, and they've been very, very poor at times. I think just the same as what we've been. So I think it's another great matchup for the neutral. It's two teams who are going to go at it and try and prove themselves. We're both coming off of disappointing defeats, and we want to bounce back quickly, especially with only one more game after this going into the playoffs. So I expect them to be prepared. We're not going to bank on them playing a certain way, because we anticipate a slight change given the fact that they underperformed, I think, last game. So we'll expect some sort of changes. I know they've got a suspension, and we've got to be prepared for whatever they throw at us. Sorry.
Then Georgia Storm, for their home finale, get to host Hops in a big one. They need the win to get into contention to be at 11 points for the final week of the regular season. For the Hops perspective, we got to catch up with someone who has made instant dividends for them. From the University of South Carolina, gets a chance to come back home and play a little bit. Here's Mika Habel and our conversation about his time with Hops. So, Mika, let me ask you this. You joined Hops 3 weeks ago. Stoppage time, game winner, win over App FC, first goal in the 7-game thriller of the home and home. This sounds like it's been a fun 3 weeks for you so far hanging out at Hops.
Well, like you said, it's most definitely been fun. The fun of the game always comes with the win. So I was very, very pleased with, especially the last 2 weeks when we won against App twice, both at their place and our place. It's been great, especially getting goals in both games, and obviously, like you said, that 90+3 stoppage time game winner that makes not just me happy, makes the coaches happy and the team happy, and as long as everybody's in a good mood, we definitely perform on the field too. How
did you get from Regensburg, Germany, to Columbia, South Carolina, to hanging out with Hops? Work with this Rand McNabb, work the road atlas here for me, and how did this happen?
Okay, so it's a little bit of a longer story, so we'd have to go back all the way to 2018. It was my pops originally who was working as an expat in Spartanburg in South Carolina for BMW. So he kind of brought the whole family over here, and for me back then it was quite a new beginning, obviously, but all I cared about was finding the right team, and it was me, myself, the family, my old club in Germany, trying to find a place where I could play on a high level, and we all came to the conclusion that Charlotte Soccer Academy would be the best option. And I played there for 2 years. Obviously, had the chance in my U17 year, especially, to get some exposure in front of college coaches, and that's how I kind of got familiar with the whole process of getting to know colleges, and that there's actually a way that you can use college to maybe even make a pro. So for me personally, going back to Germany for my graduation, it was important to keep up that contact. And in the end of the day, it was South Carolina that just felt like the right step, like a good match. And also with Steve Gummer, who is used to be my coach at Charlotte Soccer Academy and also recruited me to the Hops. He also told me that it would be the right step. So as soon as the moment came and I was in South Carolina and he called me about potentially playing for the Hops in Charlotte, I just trusted his words again, and here we are. It's been great so far, and now I'm playing for the Hops.
How would you compare the soccer experience and playing back home in Germany versus playing in the States? How is it different and how is it the same?
Well, what's definitely different is the fact that coming here to America, I heard a lot about playing for your school and always connecting the sport to your school, which we don't really do in Germany. It's more like straight club soccer, which you also have here. So it was kind of like good for me to get that similar experience. But also, I feel like the pace that we're playing at here in America, I was very surprised. It's a very fast game, very physical. But in the end of the day, I think the biggest difference at my current age is that in Germany you're constantly fighting for that pro contract. You're kind of like in between playing for the second team, maybe getting a chance to practice with the first team, or even you're a crazy talent and you automatically get that contract. So it's kind of like not knowing where you're at. You just constantly fighting to get better, and potentially get that chance eventually, and then also use it. While here in the US, you finish your U19 season and you're like, okay, there's two ways. I go pro right now, or I go to college, either try to make it pro that way or just play soccer for 4 more years. So you kind of like, you're more set in what you're doing. And lastly, the for me personally, biggest difference is when you talk about college soccer is squeezing the season into one semester, the fall semester. And all the Europeans who talk to me about it say it's a big challenge. 2 games a week is most definitely very, very tough for your body, for your legs. But yeah, I'm excited to experience it. Like I said, never had it before. Usually always play the season over the full year. But yeah, I'll see how it goes, I guess.
What have you been able to learn from Tony Annan there at South Carolina?
Tony's a great coach, very tough, very demanding, but great character. What I'm learning from him is most definitely that he's not just making me a better player on the field, but also a better person in life. His style of playing soccer is just that, aggressive, straightforward, and active type of play that I want to do. So, I love playing for him, and it's not just me; it's the whole team, and we're excited to get started in the season.
With Hops, this is almost like cramming for a test. Basically, it's like you're parachuting into a situation and you've got to hit the ground running. What's it been like for you, basically diving into Hops? And obviously, we've talked about how you've been able to contribute immediately, but what's it been like to try to adjust to get into this situation for a team that's already past mid-season and trying to make a sprint toward the end of the regular season and make a run in the playoffs, maybe?
I think what would help me in that perspective is that I knew it coming in that it was going to be like that. But, I remember the first 3 practice sessions. It was obviously tough for me. I spoke to the coaches a lot and made sure that, we're all on the same page. But at the end of the day, I feel like if you enjoy playing soccer and you get a chance to stand there on the field with your teammates for 90 minutes, it does not matter how long you've known them for. If you start off the game and you're in the zone, you find a way to grow together and to find that connection. And especially for us now, having played 3 games, I can feel that by every minute that's going by, the connection is getting better and better, not just in games, but also in practice sessions. So from now on, it's just, thriving and like aiming for another win.
And you're doing that. You've got 2 matches to go left here in the regular season. Right now, you're 4th, but it's because of math. Same number of points that you have. It's 11 points hanging in there right now. Getting ready for a big road trip to Georgia Storm this weekend. I know as we're talking, it's probably a little early, but what has study hall been like getting ready for Storm, especially for you in this environment with Hops? What's it been like getting ready for this big match?
Well, like Coach Morteza said, it was a crazy game on the weekend, but his words were the moment he stepped off the field and drove home, he was already focused on the next game, which is, I love that type of mentality, and that's what we've been doing. Obviously, we're still enjoying this win, but we're at the same time very locked in and very focused on the next game because we know how important this is. And also we know now what's possible in this league for us and how good we can play if we really grow together. So we're all very determined, very excited, and just can't wait to step on the pitch again together and then, get the next 3 points.
So that's your run. That's where we are. A lot of teams, not a lot of points separating 2 through 4. Not a lot of points separating 3, 4, 5, and 6. One win, one way or the other. Obviously, it's a tall order for 865 Alliance going to Apotheos. App and Revs, we'll see what happens with those two, separated by a point right now in second and third. Storm and Hops. Storm need the win at West Georgia to get them to 11 points to be a part of the conversation. So you've got all of this subplot coming in to the next to last week of the regular season, and we will be here for you to let you know what else is going on in the NPSL. It's another round of the SDH coverage of the NPSL Southeast. If you are in market, if you're at North Cobb, if you're at Ted Mackerel in Boone, or if you're in Carrollton, go check it out. Home finales for some, great action in the NPSL. If you cannot follow along, if you cannot be there in person, then what you can do is follow along on local providers. Keep an eye on social media and figure out where the matches are being broadcast. Check Facebook pages, especially for App FC and 11 Sports, ELEVEN Sports, for the remaining clubs on the weekend. And if you are out of market, once again, you can follow along through NPSL social media and those providers on the streaming services. We'll be back at it one more time to wrap up the regular season, get you ready for that match week 10, find out what all the permutations, combinations are when it comes to getting into the postseason. That's SDH's coverage of the NPSL Southeast. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy the game.